The gravel crunched under tires like bones snapping as Dad's truck skidded to a halt in the middle of nowhere, the engine's growl dying into the accusatory silence of the evergreens. "You're dead to us, Justin." "A goddamn abomination," he spat, his voice a venomous whip that lashed across the cab, yanking me from the numb haze of my confession just hours earlier. Before I could choke out a plea, he snatched my phone from my trembling hand, slammed his boot down on it with a sickening crack, and shoved me out into the mud-slicked forest floor, the door slamming like the final nail in my coffin. I hit the ground hard, the cold Oregon rain soaking through my jeans in seconds, mixing with the hot sting of tears I couldn't hold back anymore. The truck's taillights bled red into the twilight, shrinking like a fading heartbeat until they vanished around the bend, leaving me utterly, terrifyingly alone. My backpack, stuffed with nothing but a change of clothes, a half-eaten protein bar, and the weight of shattered dreams, felt like an anchor dragging me deeper into the underbrush. That was the night I died, or at least the boy named Justin Miller from Elmwood, Oregon, did. 22 years old, fresh out of community college with a graphic design certificate gathering dust in my drawer, and outed by a careless text to my sister that Mom had snooped on. "I think I'm gay," it read, simple as that. Simple enough to unravel everything. Dad, the stoic logger who'd raised me on Bible verses and backwoods survival, couldn't stomach it. Mom, with her quiet prayers and casseroles, had wept but followed his lead. And Ellie, my little sister, the one I'd sworn to protect, she'd stared at me like I'd grown horns, whispering, "But Justin." Why? The forest closed in like a judgmental congregation, pines whispering secrets I'd never confess. I stumbled through the brambles, thorns snagging my skin like accusations, my breath ragged gasps that echoed my heartbeat's frantic Morse code. Run. Survive. Don't look back. Hours blurred into a haze of hypothermia and hunger, the protein bar long gone, until I collapsed at the edge of a logging road, thumb out to hitchhike with ghosts. A grizzled trucker named Hank picked me up at dawn, his eyes narrowing at my mud-caked form but asking no questions. "Portland's that way, kid. Clean slate or bust. Portland. The city of bridges and reinvention, where the Willamette River snaked through hipster havens and forgotten warehouses like a vein pumping second chances." I crashed on Hank's couch for a week, dodging his probing glances, before scraping together enough for a dingy studio in the Pearl District. Rent was a thief in the night, but barista gigs at overpriced coffee shops kept the lights flickering. Days blurred into steam and small talk, nights into scrolling Grindr on a burner phone, heart pounding with equal parts thrill and terror. That's where I met Brandon. It was a rainy Tuesday in June, the kind where the sky wept for the lost, and I was wiping down the espresso machine when he walked in, tall, broad-shouldered, with a jawline that could cut glass and eyes like smoked whiskey, warm but guarded. He ordered a black coffee, no frills, but lingered at the pickup counter, sketching in a worn leather journal while the downpour drummed against the windows. "Artist?" I asked, bolder than I felt, sliding his cup over with a napkin doodle of a cartoon barista flipping him off. He glanced up, a crooked smile cracking his facade. "Guilty. Graphic novelist." "You?" His voice was low, laced with that easy California drawl that made my stomach flip. "Amateur doodler. Trying not to starve." We bantered like we'd rehearsed it, and by closing time, he was helping me stack chairs, our fingers brushing in ways that sent sparks up my arm. Walk you home? He offered, umbrella in hand, and I nodded, pulse racing faster than the rivulets racing down the awning. Our first kiss happened under that umbrella on a cobblestone sidewalk, tentative at first, then hungry, like we'd both been starving for air. Brandon tasted like coffee and possibility, his hands framing my face as if I were something precious, not broken. He pulled back, forehead to mine, rain pattering around us like applause. I've been looking for you, Justin. Without even knowing it, we tumbled into his loft in the industrial district, a cavernous space cluttered with inked panels, half-finished manuscripts, and the scent of turpentine and takeout. Brandon Hayes, 25, runaway from a Silicon Valley family that prized code over chaos, had traded algorithms for stories that bled emotion onto the page. His graphic novel, Shadows in the Grid, was making waves in indie circles, tales of queer coders hacking their way out of corporate closets. "Art's my rebellion," he said that night, tracing the scars on my knuckles from the forest thorns that never fully healed. I told him everything then, words spilling like the rain outside Dad's rage, the crushed phone, the endless highway hitch to nowhere. He listened without pity, just held me through the sobs, his heartbeat a steady drum against my cheek. "You're not broken, Justin. You're a survivor. And survivors, they build empires from ashes." That was the first night we made love, slow and reverent, bodies mapping each other's wounds like cartographers charting unclaimed land. In his arms, the forest faded, replaced by the glow of city lights filtering through skylights, promising a future I could almost believe in. Summer unfurled like a fever dream. We explored Portland's underbelly, Powell's city of books, where we'd lose hours in the LGBTQ+ section, fingers intertwined under dog-eared pages, food cart pods steaming with falafel and craft brews, hikes up Forest Park, where I'd flinch at dense woods but lean into Brandon's solid presence, his laughter chasing shadows away. He taught me to sketch with intention, turning my aimless lines into characters with fire in their eyes. I showed him the raw edges of barista life, the rude Karens, the midnight closes that left us tangled in sheets by 2 a.m. But love, like Portland's weather, had its storms. Brandon's past haunted him in flashes. A brother who disowned him after a drunken wedding toast gone wrong. A mother who sent checks but no calls. "Family's a myth we tell ourselves," he'd mutter during late-night smokes on the fire escape, exhaling regrets into the neon haze. I'd counter with tentative hope, whispering, "Maybe not forever." We'd fight sometimes, me pushing for vulnerability, him retreating into his panels. But make-up sex was a sacrament, fierce and forgiving, reaffirming that we were each other's safe harbor. By fall, we'd moved in together, pooling scraps for a one-bedroom in Alberta Arts District. Walls soon plastered with our collaborative art. Murals of queer icons rising from cracked concrete, fists raised against faded American flags. My design gigs picked up, freelance logos for queer-owned boutiques, and Brandon's book tour loomed, a whirlwind of cons and signings from Seattle to San Diego. "Come with me," he begged one night, post-coital glow making his pleas irresistible. "Be my muse on the road." I hesitated, the forest's echo whispering, "Don't get too comfortable." But his eyes, pleading and proud, won out. We packed light, hit the I-5 southbound, windows down, indie folk crooning from the speakers. Stops blurred. A midnight bonfire on Cannon Beach, waves crashing like applause for our whispered vows. A dive bar in Eureka where we slow danced to Patsy Cline. His chin on my shoulder. World narrowing to just us. San Francisco was the pinnacle. Alcatraz fog rolling in as we strolled the Castro. Hand in hand. Past rainbow flags flapping like defiant prayers. At a packed reading in a Mission District bookstore, Brandon dedicated a chapter to me on stage. To Justin, who taught me that love isn't a plot twist. It's the goddamn spine of the story. The crowd hooped. I blushed crimson in the front row, heart swelling until it ached. But empires built on ashes are fragile. On the drive back, phone buzzing with a Portland number I hadn't seen in 3 years, my world tilted. Ellie. Justin? Oh God. Please don't hang up. It's bad. Really bad. Her voice cracked like the phone under Dad's boot, pulling me back to that rain-soaked grave. What do you want? El? Forgiveness? Too late. No, Dad's sick. Cancer. Stage 4. And the mill closed, we're losing the house. Mom's a wreck. We need you. Please. I gripped the wheel, Brandon's hand on my thigh a lifeline. Need me? After the silence. The erasure. You made your choice, I whispered. But the line went dead before I could hang up, her sobs echoing in my skull. The tour ended in a haze of what-ifs. Brandon saw the fracture lines, drew me close in our bed that smelled of fresh ink and us. You don't owe them shit, babe. But if you go, I'm with you. Always. I didn't go. Not then. Buried it under deadlines and dates. But the call festered like an untreated wound. Holiday cards arrived, and signed, generic, stoking the fire. New Year's Eve. Champagne fizzing as Portland's fireworks bloomed. Cracked. What if they really need me? What if I'm the monster for walking away? Brandon's face shadowed, jaw tight. You're not a monster. But holding on to hate, that's poison. Go see for yourself. I'll hold the fort. Winter gripped the city in ice, mirroring the chill in my veins as I drove east on I-84. Columbia River Gorge a blurred watercolor of regret. Elmwood hadn't changed. Clabbered houses sagging under snow. The lumber mill a skeletal ghost on the outskirts. Dad's truck, older, rustier, sat in the drive of our old rancher, porch light flickering like a hesitant welcome. Mom answered the door, thinner, eyes hollowed by grief. Justin, it was a breath, prayer, her arms enfolding me before I could recoil. Ellie hovered behind, 16 now, all gangly limbs and guilty glances. He's waiting, upstairs. Dad lay propped in the master bed, oxygen mask hissing, skin jaundiced as old newsprint. His eyes, once thunderclouds, widened, then softened. Son, the word croaked out, laced with rust. I stood frozen, the room thick with ghosts. You crushed more than my phone that night, Dad. You crushed me. He nodded, tears carving tracks down papery cheeks. I know. God, I know. Feared losing you to that life. But I lost you anyway. And now, cough racked him, machine beeping accusations. We talked or tried. Fractured sentences about my designs, his regrets. The mills shut down blaming coastal elites. Ellie bridged gaps. Her stories of high school crushes, a girl named Taylor, a tentative olive branch. Mom fed me pot roast, hands trembling as she portioned seconds. It was awkward, raw, like picking shrapnel from a wound. 2 days in, Brandon called. "How's the battlefield?" His voice, steady as ever, nearly undid me. Like walking on eggshells made of glass, I whispered from the guest room. Door cracked to eavesdrop on Ellie's laughter downstairs. Innocent, unchanged. "Come home soon. I miss my co-pilot." We hung up with "I love yous," but doubt gnawed. Was this redemption, or just desperation? The betrayal came swift as a nor'easter. On day 4, rifling through Dad's desk for old photos, proof of the boy I'd been, I found the letters. Tucked in a Bible's hollowed pages. Addressed to a Portland lawyer. Insurance policy payouts. Reverse mortgage docs. The house leveraged to the hilt. And there, in Dad's scrawled hand, "If Justin returns, leverage his success." City boys got money now. My stomach plummeted. Success? I'd sent anonymous checks once. Early on. Through a P.O. box. Guilt money for Ellie's braces. Mom's meds. They'd traced me. This wasn't plea. It was ploy. A hook baited with blood ties. I confronted them that night. Letters fanned like a bad hand at poker. Mom gasped. Hand to mouth. Ellie paled, whispering, "No, Justin, that's not." But Dad's eyes, even dimmed by pain, flickered with shame unmasked. "We were desperate," he rasped. "Didn't know how else to reach you. Pride's a luxury we can't afford." "Pride," I laughed, bitter as black coffee. "You stripped mine away. And now you want it back? For what? A down payment on your regrets." The room erupted. Mom's sobs. Ellie's pleas. Dad's labored defenses crumbling into confessions of small-town bigotry. Church pressures. Fears of scandal. I was wrong, son. So damn wrong. But your family. Blood. Blood doesn't buy absolution. I stormed out, boots thudding downstairs, into the snow-whipped night. The forest loomed at the property's edge, darker, denser than memory, and for a heartbeat, I teetered toward it, old instincts screaming run. But then my phone buzzed. "Brandon, a photo of our mural, captioned 'Your empire awaits.'" I drove through the gorge at dawn, wipers battling flurries, heart a war drum. Betrayal stung fresh, but beneath it, a fragile truth. They were broken too. Human. Flawed as the American dream we'd all chased. Portland welcomed me with open arms. Brandon's, specifically, waiting at our door with takeout and that whiskey smile. Rough recon. He pulled me inside, kisses chasing the cold away. Worse. They played me. But I saw them, Bran. Really saw. The hate is fear. Theirs, not mine. We collapsed onto the couch, his head in my lap, fingers tracing tattoos I'd gotten post-forest, a phoenix rising from shattered glass. So what now? Burn the bridge or build a new one? I stared at the ceiling. City hum a lullaby. Maybe. Reinforce it. On my terms. For Ellie, if nothing else. Spring thawed the ice. Metaphor and literal. Brandon's sequel launched to acclaim. Our joint exhibit at a queer art fest drawing crowds who lingered over pieces titled Fractured Roots. Whispers of "That's us" rippling through. Dad's condition worsened. Updates came via Ellie. Tentative texts evolving from apologies to anecdotes. Her prom dress dilemma. Taylor's first kiss story. I visited once more. Alone. In May's bloom. The forest path. Once a nightmare trail. Now led to a clearing where wildflowers pushed through loam like hope's stubborn weeds. Dad was frilier, but lucid, gripping my hand with papery strength. "Forgive an old fool?" he murmured, voice athread. "Not yet," I said, honest as breath. "But I'm here." "That's a start." He nodded, tears glistening. "That's more than I deserve." Mom hugged me goodbye, slipping a photo into my pocket. Us as kids, fishing the Rogue, grins wide as the sky. Ellie walked me to the truck, awkward but earnest. "You're my hero, Justin." Always were. The drive back was lighter, gorge greens vibrant, radio crooning Springsteen, Thunder Road, that anthem of escape and return. Brandon waited with dinner on the balcony, skyline twinkling like stars reclaimed. "How'd it go?" "Human," I said, pulling him close. "Messy." "Real." Our kiss deepened, hands roaming with the familiarity of lovers who'd weathered storms. That night, as we lay spent and tangled, his breath warm against my neck, I whispered the impossible. "Marry me? Not today, but someday. Build that empire together." He laughed, soft and sure. "Thought you'd never ask." Summer swelled with plans. A courthouse wedding in fall, art residencies in New York, maybe a cabin in the Cascades, not forest deep, but edge enough for growth. Dad passed in July, quiet as a sigh, his last words via Ellie, "Tell Justin." Proud. We went back for the funeral, me in a suit that fit the man I'd become, Brandon's hand in mine a shield against stares. The eulogy I gave wasn't forgiveness outright, but grace, a story of a boy lost in woods, finding his way home on his own map. In the graveyard, under Oregon pines that no longer loomed but sheltered, I scattered dirt on the casket, Mom's arm linked in mine, Ellie's head on my shoulder. Betrayal's scar remained, a faint line, but time's alchemy turned it to strength. We drove away as family, not unbroken, but mended. Human. And in Portland's embrace, with Brandon's ring glinting on my finger come October, I finally believed love wasn't the absence of pain, but the courage to feel it all. To rise, shattered phone and all, into the light. The wedding was small, unpretentious, the way we'd always dreamed. City Hall steps under a crisp October sky, Portland's leaves turning gold like the band Brandon slid onto my finger. Ellie flew in, Taylor in tow, her eyes wide at the skyline. Mom came too, tentative in a floral dress, clutching a tissue like a talisman. No Dad, of course, but his absence felt less like a void now, more like space cleared for new stories. We exchanged vows scribbled on napkins during a rainy hike. "I promise to sketch your shadows and color your light," Brandon said, voice steady, eyes locking mine with that intensity that still made my knees weak. Countered, "I'll brew your coffee strong and your love stronger," choking on laughter and happy tears. The reception was our loft, transformed. Fairy lights strung like constellations, food carts commandeered for gourmet sliders and queer-baked cupcakes. Ellie cornered me by the turntable, spinning Chapel Roan for the dance floor. "You look happy, just like glowy happy." Her hug was fierce, teenage awkwardness yielding to sisterly steel. Taylor blushed nearby, and I winked. "Go for it, kid. Life's too short for closets." Mom hovered at the edges, nursing a seltzer, until Brandon pulled her into a waltz, his charm disarming her reserve. "He's a keeper," she murmured later, patting my cheek. Your father. He'd have come around. Eventually. It wasn't absolution, but close enough for now, a bridge half-built, traffic light. As dusk fell, guests trickling out, Brandon and I slipped to the fire escape, city pulse below us a heartbeat. His kiss tasted of champagne and forever, hands framing my face like the first time. Mr. Hayes Miller, he teased, nuzzling my neck. Sounds official. Or Miller Hayes. Equal billing. We laughed. Breaths mingling in the chill. Bodies pressing close against the railing. That night blurred into lovemaking slow as a graphic panel sequence. Each touch a reveal. Building to climax with gasps that echoed our vows. In his arms. Post-glow. Doubts dissolved. The forest was just topography now. A chapter closed. November brought change's edge. Brandon's publisher dangled a deal. Adapt Shadows for streaming. LA. Meetings. Potential showrunner gig. It's huge, Justin. But uprooting, his excitement warred with worry, pacing our living room amid sketch pads and coffee stains. I leaned against the kitchenette, heart twisting. Portland was our roots, shallow, but sunk deep after the nomad years. Yet LA, lights, bigger canvas, queer scenes that pulsed like veins. We go, I said finally, pulling him into a hug. Empires expand, right? And hey, palm trees beat evergreens. Packing was cathartic. Boxes labeled art supplies, kitchen odds, forest souvenirs, that old photo, a pressed wildflower from the clearing. Ellie helped via video, her room a teen chaos of posters and textbooks. Don't forget me in Cali, she joked, but her eyes held a plea. College apps loomed. Taylor was official now, hand-holding in hallways a quiet victory. Mom's goodbye was airport curbside, her embrace tighter than memory allowed. Call more. And send pictures of the life you're building. No tears, just resolve, a woman learning to stand sans shadow. LAX hit like a fever. Perpetual sun scorching doubts. Traffic a symphony of horns and ambition. We sublet a bungalow in Silver Lake. Mid-century charm with a lemon tree out back. Views of the reservoir shimmering like promise. My freelance bloomed. Apps for queer startups. Billboards for pride fests. Brandon dove into script reads. Late nights scribbling dialogue that crackled with our shared fire. But cities devour the unwary. December's holiday buzz masked undercurrents. Industry parties where handshakes lingered too long on Brandon's shoulder. Whispers of diversity hires that soured my latte. One night, post-gala in a WeHo club, a producer cornered him. Slick suit, sleazier grin. The book's fire, Hayes. But tone down the queer angst, broader appeal. Brandon laughed it off. But in the Uber home, tension crackled. It's our story, Justin. Not some sanitized sellout. I squeezed his thigh, voice low. Fight for it. You're the spine. Remember, we made love fiercely that night, reclaiming agency in sheets that smelled of citrus and sweat. Bodies a defiant script against erasure. New Year dawned with resolutions and revelations. Ellie texted. Accepted to Portland State, majoring in environmental art, like you and Bran, but with trees. Pride swelled. I booked tickets home for her graduation, Mom included. But LA's glamour nod, paparazzi flashes at premieres, Brandon's name buzzing, mine still a footnote. Spring tested us. A script rewrite demanded his isolation, hotel suites in Burbank, calls at odd hours. It's temporary, he'd assure, voice tinny over FaceTime. Loneliness crept in. Filling nights with freelance frenzy and grinder ghosts, I swiped away guiltily. One evening, scrolling old photos, the forest clearing, our Portland mural, I called Ellie. Ever feel like you're fading? In your own life? Her paws stretched. All the time. But then Taylor drags me hiking, or Mom bakes those awful pies, and poof, grounded. You got Bran. Lean on him. Sage words from a sister half my age. When he returned, exhausted but electric, I ambushed him with a rooftop picnic. In and out elevated with candles, sketchpads for impromptu comics. Missed this, he groaned, burger in hand, grease-smeared lips meeting mine. Missed you. We talked till stars pricked the smog, fears of drift, dreams of legacy. Adopt someday? He mused, head on my chest. Queer dads raising hell. My throat tightened. Yeah. Teach him to draw their way out of woods. Summer sizzled with success. Shadows greenlit. Brandon directing episodes. My portfolio landed a queer mag cover, portraits of trans elders. Raw and radiant. Ellie visited, wide-eyed at Venice Beach boardwalks, crashing our bungalow with Taylor for beach bonfires. This is living, she declared, toes in sand, my arm around her shoulders. But Autumn whispered warnings. Mom's check-ins grew sparse, voice thinner. Just tired, honey. Milltown's ghosting us all. Ellie confirmed. Foreclosure notices. Her dorm fund raided for bills. Guilt's old hook tugged, blood's call. Insistent. I wired money. Anonymous again. But this time with a note. From your son. Billed from here. No reply. But Ellie's text. She cried. Thank you. October marked our first anniversary. Brandon surprised me with a road trip north. Big Sur cliffs dropping to Pacific fury. Motels with creaky beds and ocean roar. We hiked trails edged with wildflowers, his hand in mine a tether. At Pfeiffer Beach, purple sands underfoot, he dropped to one knee, not proposal, but renewal. To more chapters, he said, slipping a custom ring. Intertwined phoenixes, etched with survive. Thrive. Tears blurred the waves. To us, back in L.A., harmony reigned until the call shattered it. Ellie, hysterical, Mom's gone. Heart attack. Cleaning out the attic. Found Dad's letters. Collapsed right there. The world tilted. Bungalow spinning. Brandon held me through the sobs, booking flights as I packed numbly. Go. I'm right behind. Elmwood in November was desolation. Skeletal trees, mill a ruin. The funeral was sparse. Neighbors murmuring condolences. Church pews half empty. Ellie clung to me, Taylor a quiet pillar. She was packing to visit you, she whispered graveside, wind whipping her hair. Tickets in her purse. Grief hollowed me, but anger simmered beneath. Another loss to silence, to unspoken loves. In the rancher, sorting Mom's things, quilts she'd sewn, photos yellowed. I found the note I'd sent, framed on her dresser. Beside it, my old forest doodle, taped reverently. That night, Ellie and I sat on the porch, stars pricking the ink-black sky. They loved you, just clumsy as hell, but real. I'm sorry we failed you. I pulled her close, chin on her head. You didn't. We're here now. Brandon arrived at dawn, jet-lagged but steadfast, wrapping me in his coat as snow flurried. We buried Mom beside Dad, earth soft with regret. Ellie chose college over the house sale, crashing with Taylor's family. Build your own roots, I told her, hugging goodbye. Call anytime. The flight south was quiet, his hand in mine a bridge over abyss. What now? He asked. LA. Lights winking below. Now, we live louder. For them. For us. Winter wrapped us in resolve. Brandon's show premiered to raves. Queer hearts unapologetic. Spines straight. My exhibit toured. Roots reclaimed. Forests transformed to gardens. Ellie thrived. Visits peppered with stories. Protests. First heartbreaks. Art that echoed ours. One spring evening. Bungalow aglow with takeout and wine. Brandon knelt again, this time with adoption papers. Browsed in secret. Ready to expand the empire? Tears. Laughter. Yes. Our family. Chosen. Forged in fire and forgiveness. The forest called once more. In dreams, not nightmare, but homecoming. I woke to Brandon's kiss. Sunlight slanting gold. Adventure awaits, Mr. Millerhaze, and it did. Shattered, but whole. Adoption's labyrinth was a beast, home studies prying into our bungalow like therapists on steroids, interviews dissecting our love story for cracks. Tell us about conflict, the social worker probed, clipboard poised like a shield. Brandon leaned forward, eyes steady. We've got plenty. Forest exiles, family betrayals, industry snakes. But we choose each other. Every damn day. I nodded, squeezing his knee under the table, the ring's phoenix biting into my skin. A talisman. Paperwork piled like LA. Traffic, backgrounds, finances, our graphic timelines of before, solo survivals, and after intertwined empires. Ellie flew down for support, crashing on our couch, regaling the caseworker with tales of our queer uncle vibes. Justin's the softie cries at dog videos. Brandon draws superheroes out of us all. Laughter eased the tension. Her presence a bridge to Elmwood's ghosts. Summer 2028 brought the match. Kai, 4 years old, foster system veteran with wide brown eyes and a sketchpad clutched like armor. His file read like a sequel we never wanted. Parents lost to opioids. Bounced between homes. A scar on his cheek from a fall. First meeting at a park. He hid behind the caseworker's legs, peeking at our offered crayons. Brandon knelt, pulling a quick doodle, a dragon with Kai's eyes, breathing rainbows. Wanna add flames? Kai's grin cracked the ice. Purple ones. By picnic's end. He was on my lap, scribbling chaos. Tiny hands sticky with juice on mine. You're like me, he whispered, pointing to my phoenix tattoo. Burned but flying. Heartbreak and hope collided. Home visits blurred into permanency. Bedtime stories of Portland forests turned playgrounds. Beach days where waves tickled his toes. Brandon's scripted adventures. Kai's quest. Panels of a boy taming LA. Lions. I designed his room. Murals of cities we'd conquer. Bed shaped like a comic truck. Final court date was anticlimactic. Judge's gavel. Papers stamped. Us three entwined in tears. Daddies, Kai tested. Official now. And the word rooted deeper than any evergreens. That night, Bungalow bursting with pizza and balloons. Ellie FaceTime cheers. Taylor waving a Uncle Kai banner. Mom and Dad's photos watched from the mantel, forgiven frames, part of the mosaic. Parenting upended our rhythm. Sleepless nights with nightmares. Kai's flailing from phantom falls. Preschool runs amid script deadlines. Brandon adapted shadows with dad goggles. Episodes weaving in foster tales. Earning Emmys and backlash from family values trolls. Haters gonna hate, he'd shrug, scooping Kai for tickle forts. I freelanced from home. Logos interspersed with Play-Doh empires. My softness balancing his fire. But cracks spiderwebbed. Fall brought Brandon's star ascent. Director offers. Red carpets where starlets clung too close. Whispers of solo projects. Late nights stretched. His return reeking of craft service and cologne not ours. Networking, he'd say. Kissing my temple. But doubts vine twisted. One December Eve. Kai down with flu. I scrolled his phone, jealousy's ugly habit. Texts from co-star Lena. Miss our late-night brainstorms. You're magic. Harmless, maybe. But the heart emoji stung like betrayal's echo. Confrontation brewed over eggnog. Tree lights twinkling judgment. Who's she? Bran? The one lighting up your screen. My voice cracked. Kai's cough's a soundtrack from the nursery. He sighed, rubbing temples. Lena? Colleague. Friend. Nothing more. But defensiveness flared. You're paranoid. Justin. Like your dad. The words landed like boots on glass. Shattering calm. Paranoid? After everything, your past. My forest? Don't gaslight me. We volleyed hurts. His absences. My cling. The fear of losing our fragile kingdom. Kai wandered in. Fever flushed. Whimpering daddy's fighting? And the air deflated. We paused. Scooping him between us. Apologies murmured into his curls. We fixed this, Brandon whispered later. Kai asleep. Our hands linked over his monitor. Couples therapy followed. Queer-friendly shrink in WeHo. Sessions unpacking closets within closets. Betrayal's a teacher, she said. What does it teach you? Trust. Rebuilt brick by brick. Date nights sans kid. Jazz clubs in Limert Park. Hands intertwined like vows renewed. Kai thrived. Kindergarten finger paints of Daddy Dragon, earning Fridge Hall of Fame. Spring 2029 bloomed betrayals anew. But not ours. Ellie's call. Just? Trouble. Taylor's folks. Found out about us. Kicked her out. She's crashing here. But. Hysteria edged her words. Rage and recall surged. The forest's mud. Crushed phone. Send her to us. Now. We booked the flight. Bungalow prepped with guest bed and art supplies. Taylor arrived shell-shocked. 17 and street-smart from Pride marches. But eyes haunted. Kai adopted her instantly. Big sis. Draw unicorns. We enveloped her, therapy referrals. Job shadows at my studio. Brandon scripts for strong anti-roles. Ellie visited. The sisters bond a lifeline. Mom's old quilt wrapped Taylor through panic attacks. Her story-spilling, Bible-thumping dad. Sobbing mom. A backpack exodus mirroring mine. Nights, after kids slept, we'd debrief on the deck. Lemon tree heavy with fruit. Cycle breaks here, Brandon said. Arm around me. We choose different. Summer healed. Beach camps with Kai splashing. Taylor sketching waves. Ellie and Taylor's hands linked openly. My exhibit empires of us toured nationally. panels of fractured families mending, forests to skylines. Critics lauded the humanism. Miller Hayes captures America's queer heart, tender, tenacious, but LA's serpent struck. Fall premiere, Brandon's episode on foster love, raw with Kai's echoes. Post-party, a tabloid vulture cornered us. Sources say Hayes-Miller marriage on rocks. Industry pressure too much for the barista boy? Flashbulbs blinded. Kai shielded in my arms. Rage boiled. Home. I smashed a glass shards like Dad's boot. They reduce us to clickbait. After all we've built. Brandon pulled me close. Voice steel. Then we rewrite the narrative. Press release drafted. Unapologetic. Fierce our family stands. Haters. Scroll on. Winter whispered growth. Taylor enrolled in community college. Majoring graphic design. Your fault. Justin. Ellie graduated. Speech quoting my phoenix. Rise. Even scorched. Kai's first school play. Dragon Slayer. Us cheering loudest. One snowy eve rare LA. Dusting. Kai built a fort from couch cushions. Taylor and Ellie inside giggling plots. Brandon and I watched from kitchen. Cocoa steaming. This, he murmured, kissing my temple, is the climax worth every conflict. I nodded, heart full. Betrayals past. Present, family. Fame. Faded against this. Love's quiet roar. 2020's waned into a new decade. Our bungalow a bustling hive. Kai's crayons on walls like abstract expressionism. Taylor's textbooks stacked with my sketchpads. Ellie's visits a whirlwind of anti-spoiling. Brandon's show morphed into a franchise. Spin-offs. Merch. Him helming a writer's room buzzing with queer voices. Diversity's not a checkbox. He'd boom in meetings. It's the pulse. I consulted on visuals. My style infusing episodes with humanistic grit, characters scarred but soaring. Yet success's shadow lengthened. A rival studio poached Lena, but not before rumors swirled. Hayes' muse moves on marriage strain, tabloids feasted, painting me the jealous anchor, Brandon the ascending star. Therapy doubled down. We role-played headlines, laughing till tears came. Fuck him, he'd say, pulling me to bed, bodies reaffirming what words couldn't touch. Kai turned 7 in spring. Party a chaos of piñatas and superheroes. His gift to us. A lopsided drawing, daddies as caped crusaders, Taylor and Ellie as sidekicks, a forest in background blooming flowers. No more scary trees, he beamed, hugging tight. That night, post-sugar crash, Brandon and I lay awake, his fingers tracing my wedding band. Adopt again? Grow the squad. Heart stuttered, love's expansion. Daunting yet divine. One step. Let's foster first. Pay it forward. Agency match came swift. Mia, 12. Trans girl with a poet's soul and walls high as redwoods. File detailed transitions stalled by system bureaucracy. A poetry journal her armor. First meet at a bookstore, her eyes lit on Brandon's graphic novels. Suspicion thawing. You draw queers who win? Always, he grinned, handing shadows. Kai offered markers. Color her fierce. By coffee's end, Mia sketched a phoenix with Mia's face, fierce and feathered. Fostering was immersion. Hormone blockers navigated with pediatricians. School IEPs fought with principals. Nights of her pacing our hall, whispering fears. Taylor bonded instant, big sis to little, sharing makeup tutorials and coming out war stories. You got this, kid. We're your forest now, safe paths only. Ellie mentored poetry slams, her elmwood edges softened by Portland's polish. Mom's ghost lingered in gestures, her quilt on Mia's bed, recipes baked for family dinners that stretched our table to breaking. Climax crashed summer's heatwave. Brandon's Emmy nod, directing nod for Foster Arc, meant press junkets. Him away weeks in New York. Alone with kids, I juggled designs and drop-offs, but Mia's school bully escalated. Slurs scrawled on locker, freak echoing her file's traumas. She shut down, journal pages blank, eyes distant. One night, storm raging outside mirroring inside. She cornered me in the kitchen, voice small. Why'd you take me? Pity, knife twisted. I knelt, meeting her gaze. Because I was you, once. Kicked out, phone smashed, world a forest of thorns. But I found people, Brandon, Ellie, who saw me. We see you, Mia. Not to fix, to fight alongside. Tears breached her dams. We hugged till thunder rolled. Next day, school meeting, me channeling Dad's logger steel, demanding change. Principal buckled, counselor assigned. Mia's journal revived, poems of Phoenix girls rising from Cali sands. Brandon returned mid-crisis, scooping us into a group huddle. Missed the drama. Spill, we did, over tacos, laughter weaving through tears. That week, he scripted an episode from Mia's verses, trans teen poet battling shadows, earning her credit. Inspired by M, fall deep in bonds. Mia's permanency hearing loomed. We prepped with mock vows, Kai piping, you're stuck with us. Taylor's graduation neared. Scholarship to CalArts. Your legacy, Justin. Ellie proposed to Taylor under Portland's bridges. Ring a sketched band we'd designed together. But betrayal's specter slithered back. Insidious. During Emmy week, a leaked email chain surfaced. Producer pal of Brandon's, pitching straighten the leads for broader syndication. Hayes on board, his hubby holding him back. Fury ignited. I forwarded to his agent, CCING Media Allies. Headline storm, queer show fights erasure, Hayes Miller family leads charge. Brandon faced the press gauntlet. Arm around me, kids shielded backstage. This family's queer core. Tamper with it, you lose the soul. Backlash boomed, boycotts from bigots, boosts from fans. Ratings soared, we donated Spike to trans youth orgs. Winter healed wounds. Mia's adoption sealed Christmas Eve. Court bauble on the tree, her name etched beside Kai's. Holiday was mosaic. Ellie and Taylor's engagement party via Zoom. Elmwood neighbors sending wreaths. Mom's recipe card enclosed. We FaceTimed. Kids waving. Brandon toasting. To chosen blood. New Year brought expansion. Another foster match. Sibling duo. Twins Leo and Luna. 6. Latinx kids with infectious giggles and trust issues from group home hops. Bungalow burst seams. We eyed Silver Lake neighbors for a bigger pad. Victorian with garden for empire building. Spring 2031 tested resilience. Mia's first crush, a non-binary artist at Poetry Club, sparked joy and jitters. How do I? Without messing up? She fretted. We coached, consent chats, date prep with Taylor's flair. Kai's school project, family tree, branches sprawling with doodles. Not straight lines, but roots entwined. Ellie's wedding loomed. Portland summer. Us flying north. Preparations wove us tighter. Toasts scripted. Rings engraved with phoenixes. En route, layover storm grounded us in Seattle. Hotel huddle turned heartfelt. From forests to flights, Brandon mused. Kids conked out. Who'd have thought? Kissed him slow. Survivors do. Wedding was wonder. Willamette Banks. Rainbow canopy. Taylor radiant in vintage lace. Ellie tearful in suit we tailored. Vows echoed ours. Through betrayals and blooms. Reception danced till dawn. Kai and Mia leading conga. Leo and Luna twirling with abandon. Back in L.A., harmony hummed until Mia's journal vanished. Panic. Pages of her transition. Crushes. Fears. Search unearthed it in trash. Kai's cleaning mishap. But a neighbor kid's taunt overheard. Freak family's secrets. Mia spiraled. Locking in room. Crisis peaked. Her scream from bathroom. Razor in hand, not deep, but deliberate. We rushed. Brandon holding her wrists. Me calling 911. Kids huddled with Taylor. Our lights harsh. Stitches sewing flesh and fractures. Psych ward follow-up. Group therapy. Meds adjusted. Us vowing vigilance. Healing was marathon. Mia's poem from the abyss. Scars are maps, not ends. We framed it. Therapy unpacking my forest echo in her pain. We can't shield forever, the shrink said. But we witness. Summer rebuilt. Art camp for Mia. Kai's soccer. Twins bilingual books. Brandon paused projects for family immersion. Beach reads of our comics. Ellie's honeymoon pics. Your blueprint, bro. Fall's exhibit scar maps debuted. Collaborative with kids. Raw lines of survival. Critics wept. Humanism's triumph. Queer family as American epic. Betrayal's final twist. Old Elmwood contact. Dad's mill buddy. Mailed a box. Inside. Dad's untouched Bible. Mom's letters to me unsent. Apologies inked. And a check, insurance windfall. For the boy we failed. Note. Use for your pack. Proud now. Tears came. I cashed it for a trust, kids' futures. No strings. Cycle closed. I told Brandon. Box burned in backyard fire pit. Ashes to stars. Winter whispered peace. Leo and Luna's adoption cleared. Twins official. Bungalow sold. New Victorian hours. Rooms for all. Studio garden blooming. One eve. Clan gathered. Dinner chaotic. Laughter loud. Brandon raised glass. To empires. Shattered. Shared. Shining. Clinked. Heart vast. From crushed phone to this chorus. Love's plot. Perfectly human. 2032 dawned with dominion. Our Victorian a verdant haven. Lemon vines climbing trellises. Kids' laughter echoing off adobe walls. Kai. 8 now. Captain Neighborhood Kickball. His Dragon Doodles franchised into kids' books. Phineas the Fearless. Royalties funding art scholarships. Mia. 14. Poetry chapbook Phoenix versus shortlisted for Youth Lit Awards. Her trans pride a beacon in school halls. Twins Leo and Luna. Scampering 7-year-olds. Bilingual whirlwinds turning bilingual storytime into multilingual mayhem. Taylor. Post-CalArts. Illustrated our family zine. Quarterly queer tales. Distributed free at Pride Hubs. Ellie. Married bliss in Portland. Announced pregnancy. Auntie just duties start now. Brandon's empire sprawled. Shadow's universe spanned comics. TV. VR experiences. Immersive forests where users escape as queer heroes. He mentored BIPOC writers. His directorial eye-sharpening lenses on marginalized might. I helmed a design collective, Reclaimed Roots, studio crafting queer-forward brands, from apps tracking trans healthcare to murals reclaiming southern walls. Life's rhythm pulsed dramatic. Emotional, clashes over curfews, Mia's late-night slams, romantic rekindlings, date nights in Griffith Observatory, stars winking complicity, humanistic depths, Foster alums crashing holidays, sharing scars over pie. No grand betrayals, but micro ones. A kid's fib unraveling trust, a missed callback fraying nerves. Each mended with talk, touch, tenacity. Spring's conflict brewed subtle. Kai's heritage project unearthed my Elmwood roots, questions probing. Why no grandpa stories? He'd ask. Crayons paused. I faltered, forest's shadow lingering faint. They were complicated. But love, it wins. Always. Brandon backed with panels. Comic of grandpa loggers, evolving from gruff to guiding ghosts. Ellie's baby shower, virtual. Then in-person Portland jaunt, stirred nostalgia. Taylor, glowing 6 months. Cooed over ultrasounds, we gifted a mobile of sketched phoenixes. En route home, I-5 northbound, kids quizzing state capitals. A hitchhiker sign caught my eye, Portland or bust. Heart clenched, echo of my trucker salvation. We pulled over, teen boy, backpack frayed, eyes wary. Run away, Brandon asked soft. He nodded, voice small, outed. That. Yeah. We loaded him snacks. Stories dropping at a youth shelter. Number slipped, call if woods call. Karma's loop, closing gentle. Summer climaxed in fire, literal. Wildfires licking Angelus edges. Air acrid with ash. Evac alerts blared. We packed essentials, journals, quilts, kiddo teddies, fleeing to Pasadena kin. Gridlocked highways, radio dire. Mia clutched her chapbook. What if we lose it all? Her fear mirrored mine's old fracture. Brandon's hand on the wheel. Steady. We rebuild. Like always. Kai piped up. With dragons. Laughter pierced smoke. We bunked in borrowed space, turning displacement into fort-building fest. News cycles spun our story. Queer family flees flames. Directors plea for climate action. Donations poured for fire relief. Our zine issue ashes to allies rallied queer communities coast to coast. Return was reckoning. Victorian singed but standing. Garden charred but resilient. Wildflowers pushing through soot. Phoenixes indeed. Rebuild rallies. Neighbors barbecuing aid. Kids planting saplings, no dense forests. Just open groves. Mia's poem from the pyre. Burn to bloom, queer roots run deep. Fall's romance reignited. Anniversary getaway. Big Sur Redux. Kids with Taylorelli crew. Cliffs unchanged. Waves eternal, we renewed under cypress. No knees, just kisses salty as sea. Still my spine, I whispered, his laugh rumbling. Forever the plot. Lovemaking in cliffside cabin, urgent. Unhurried, reaffirmed, bodies books. Chapters etched in size. Ellie's twins arrived November. Boy and girl. Named after mom and a phoenix myth. Anti-duties. Virtual lullabies. Sketched mobiles shipped. Kai declared, I'm the big cousin boss. Mia mentored diaper doodles. Leo and Luna babbled bilingual welcomes. Winter's drama. Mia's first love letter. Reciprocated. Awkward teen tango. We coached boundaries. Chaperoned coffee dates. Hearts swelling at her glow. Betrayal's whiff. A schoolmate's leaked photo. Kiss viral with slurs. Mia crumbled, we lawyered up cyberbullying suit. Win netting policy changes. Climax personal. My solo exhibit full circle Elmwood to Empire. Panels tracing arc from crushed phone, recreated shard sculpture, to family portraits. Opening night. Ellie and clan flew in. Taylor's illustrations framed beside. A ghost appeared. Elmwood pastor. Dad's old friend. Clutching invite. Your folks be proud. This heals. Tears pricked. I hugged him. Forgiveness full, not forced. Tell the town, doors open. Kudos cascaded. Reviews hailing luminous humanism. Sales funding foster arts grants. Brandon's speech. Arm around me. Justin's the heart. I just draw the veins. New Year 2033. Victorian solstice party. Clan crammed. Ellie's babes gurgling. Kai DJing indie anthems. Fire pit crackled. Safely. Stories swapped. Forests fled. Phones rebuilt. Loves reclaimed. Mia toasted. To betrayals that birthed us. Brandon pulled me aside. Garden aglow. Another chapter? Bio. Maybe surrogate. Heart leaped. Legacy literal. With you? Yes. Spring confirmed. Match with queer couple. Journey intimate. Appointments. Ultrasounds. Our hands on bellies in relay. Boy. Dew fall. River Phoenix Hayesmiller. Name bridging woods and wings. Drama peaked midsummer. Wildfires redux. But we prepped, go bags updated. Community drills. Evac this time voluntary, we aided neighbors. Kai's dragons donated to shelters. Return. Saplings sprouted. A testament. Fall birthed river. Tiny roar. Fists clenched like art. Hospital vigil. Kids peeking. Ellie cooing. Brandon's tears unashamed. Homecoming parade. Zine cover debut. New roots. Winter wove final threads. Taylor's graphic novel, Sister's Shadows. Launched. Our forward inked. Ellie's fam visited. Twins toddling with ours. Mia's award. Chapbook win. Stage speech. Thanks to daddies who mapped my scars. One eve. All asleep. Brandon and I on porch. Stars smog-free. From that forest, I murmured. Head on his shoulder. To this galaxy. His kiss soft. Best plot twist. Kicked out. Crushed. Beg back. Yet here. Humanistic horizon. Love's empire. Eternal. American as reinvention. Shattered no more. We shone. Queer. Kin. Complete.